button to mute? Your PC. Okay.
Hello everyone, do you hear me on the stream? Is there anyone on the stream? Yes. Okay, so we're gonna start. So, hello everyone, thanks for coming. Today we're gonna have just like a little introduction to mobile development with Flutter and Dart. So, a little timeline of the workshop. Okay, so first we're gonna start with a little overview of the basic features of Dart. Dart is a language, and Flutter. Why is it not working? Luke, we have technical problems. So do you guys maybe want to come here so you can look at the screen here, because apparently it's not working.
ça marchait tout à l'heure.
Yeah, I don't know why.
C'est quoi? J'ai une idée. Alors, c'est bien, je t'ai
Ah, c'est bon. Yo, merci Chloé.
Eunice, you moved and it crashed again.
Can you just remove this? Oui, j'ai une autre idée. J'ai une autre idée parce que je crois que ça c'est. Ça va être.
What did you say?
Cable is probably dead.
You have a better cable?
We don't have any other cable.
I thought Lucas had another cable.
J'ai pas demandé pour
I can try to remove this one and put it directly to the projector. Should I try that?
Just continue like on project. Go on.
So after that, we're gonna do a little live demo, and at the end, you're gonna have a TP to work on. So let's start with like what is Flutter. So Flutter is an open source framework by Google for building multi-platform applications from a single code base. So you can, with Flutter, you can actually use, you can build mobile apps, but also desktop apps and a website. It's all from a single code base. So it is very powerful. So why use Flutter? Flutter. So you should use Flutter because it compiles to ARM or Intel machine as well as JavaScript. You can build it and iterate it with it quickly with hot reload that we're going to see a little later during the demo. It has a very flexible and adaptive design. And it is powered by Dart, as I mentioned earlier, which is a language also from Google. And it's optimized for fast apps on any platform. So let's start with a little intro to Dart. So when the screen works again, you will see a basic Dart program. It is very similar to maybe C that and also if you've seen JavaScript before. It is very weakly typed, which means that you can change the type at any time. And yeah, we're gonna go a little deeper just in a second. So when you talk about variables, every variable is an object. And what I mean by that is that you can do exactly this. It doesn't matter whether you say that Bob, which normally in C would be an array of characters, which is a string, you can see here you can also say that it's also only an object, or you can just call it a variable. It doesn't really matter. And also, if you, for example, if you say that name is an object, you could here say that it's Bob, and later you could assign it, for example, 4. Default value. So without null safety, the default value is null. Otherwise, if you use null safety, you have to set the value of your variable. In the new version of Flutter, of Dart, they introduced a new keyword, which is late, which basically means that if your Flutter application is screaming at you that you didn't define some kind of variable, but you know for sure that you're going to define it a little later, you can use the late keyword, which will just tell the compiler that it will be defined just a little later, just wait. Final and const, these two keywords are used for when you know that you're not gonna change a value of a variable, so you can just name it final or const, which is constant because it's not gonna be changed. And we also have other built-in types, which we don't really have in C. So for example, we have lists, we have sets, maps, runes, and also some other important types. Object, which we already mentioned, which is the superclass of all Dart classes except null. And then future and stream are more used in the asynchronous part, which, for example, when you're trying to retrieve something from an API, and of course, void. And now in Dart, we also have multiple typed as operators. So when you want to cast something as another object, you use as. And if you want to test that an object is of some kind of a type, you use is, or exclamation point is for is not. We can also use arrow syntax, which is basically rewriting the function in this kind of form. It will be useful just a little later when we introduce cascades. And it's basically used when you have functions that are not really that long, and you can write them in one line to make them more readable. So cascades, you see that here we have an example of code where we're using all of the functions that are called on the variable button. So what we can do is that we can cascade them all on one function call, and basically it means that you're calling all of them on the button right after each other. And also on the fourth line, you can see we're already using the arrow syntax that we introduced just before. If you want to go any further, you can just look at the docs, which are at the dart.dev. They are very rigorous, and I would recommend you to look at them. Now, a few words about Flutter. So Flutter, as we said, it's a framework, and what is most important is that everything in Flutter is a widget, okay? So when I start with my app, I have my app, which is the entire box. And inside that, a child of that is a material app. Inside that, we have my homepage. Inside that, I have a scaffold. Basically, everything is nested. You start with one big thing, which can be, in a C, it would be the main function, which is the thing that runs your app. That's your big rectangle that contains everything. And after that, everything is nested inside. I'm going to see, with the demo, I think you're going to understand more how it works. So to handle gestures and concept of state in Flutter, we're using gesture detector, and after that, stateful and stateless widget. So gesture detector, what it does is basically detects whether the user has interacted. For example, if it had clicked on a button, so that can be easily used to perform some actions. And whenever you're trying to code, create a class, it always has to extend either a stateful or a stateless widget. So the main difference is that stateless widget doesn't have state. But what does it mean? It means that you cannot change any values in them and expect the page to reload itself and change the value. We're going to see that in the demo when we have a page with a counter, and when I click on a button, the counter on the page is increasing. Well, for that, obviously, I need a stateful widget to be able to change the state, because every time I click on the button, the page refreshes itself and changes the state of the counter. So here we have a little piece of code. So that's how you would normally define a class. Let's say we were here in this little piece of code, we are defining my homepage, which extends the stateless widget. So we're not caring about the state here. And here you see that it returns a scaffold. That's basically the container that contains the app. Scaffold is a certain like a layout, and in an up bar we have a title that we passed as a parameter to our class, and in our body we just have a text hello world, so that will be basically an empty page. So to go further, you can go again on the Flutter docs, which are very nice and very interactive. So let's continue with the demo. I hope you can see. So normally, to check that you have everything correctly installed to be able to work in Flutter, you write Flutter Doctor in your terminal. The complete installation guide and everything is going to be written in the TP, so I'm not going to go through that right now because it would take a while. So you just see I ran my Flutter Doctor. Since I am on a Mac OS, I probably want to develop either on a website or a Mac OS application or maybe an iOS mobile device. But since again we're developing in Flutter, it's going to work on anything. It doesn't really matter. It's just what am I going to be testing it on. So you see that my Xcode is good, and I have Flutter installed, so I am good to go. The only thing the Flutter doctor said that I have an issue in is Android 2-chain, which I am not really interested in on my macOS device. To create an app, we simply run flutter create and the name of the app. So let's say my app. And my app is created. You see? All done. So I go to my app folder and I write flutter run to run the application for the first time. Although, if you have noticed, I have not launched my mobile iOS, my iOS simulator. So they're asking me whether I want to run it on a macOS application or on Chrome. But I don't really want to do that, so I'm going to say quit, and I'm going to launch my simulator. So if you're on Linux, when you download Android Studio, you're going to have an Android simulator with that. On iOS, on the other hand, we have to download Xcode, where we have the iOS simulator. So now if I do Flutter run again, it should find my iPhone 14 Max here and launch it on it. You see, launching on iPhone 14 Pro Max in debug mode. So the first build takes a little while because Xcode, and after that you're just using hot reload, which is very very fast. Yep, Xcode build done. And here we have the default app that you get when you create an application. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a counter. This is the blue thing on the top is the app bar that we saw before in the code extract in the presentation. And here there is a floating action button. So when I click it, it changes the counter. Okay. So I'm gonna open the code in Visual Studio so we can interact with it a little more. Your whole application is in one folder, which is lib. Okay. So you can ignore all the other folders. You just go to lib, and here you have main.dart, which is basically the main file. And here in my VS Code, I can run it by pressing here, start debugging, and it's going to launch it this exact same way. Now, you can see that already the code that was given as a basic app is very commented, and it is that's why it is very beginner friendly, because everything is explained, everything that they're doing is explained, and you can see and learn by yourself. So don't hesitate to read these comments. Now, to just get a little more comfortable with the app, okay? So here, as we said, we have the blue app bar where it's written the Flutter demo homepage. So this is a class. here we have our class my homepage that extends a stateful widget. We mentioned that before, that we have to have a stateful widget to be able to change the state because we have the counter. And here, scaffold and app bar. In our app bar, we have a text, which is set by the widget title here. So if I would want to change the title here, I would just have to change the variable that is passed to my homepage class. So let's say I want to say intro to Flutter. Now I just saved, I did Control S, and it already reloaded the application and changed it instantly. Now another thing, because Dart and Flutter are both open source, you can click on any class and go to the definition of it and see exactly how it was coded. Also, if you're more advanced and you want to do that, you can override the classes and use their code and change it to whatever you want to do. Now let's say I want to add, I don't know, a picture, okay? So I go to the widget catalog on the Flutter docs, and I say assets and images. And I want an image. So you see there, they have them completely with a complete example. Even the code is easily copied. Now, as we said, the code is always nested. So my scaffold here has a app bar and then has a body. And the body has a child, which is a column, so that it's formatted from up and to down, which has we have children. And in these children, we can see the text. You have pushed the button this many times, and text, which represents our counter. So if I want to add the picture right between the text you have pushed the button and the counter, I would just put it in the children right in between them. Again, command save, and it's there. See that it's instant. Hot reload can be also accessed here on the top, and here you can just close. So I hope this live demo was enough for you to start coding. And here you have your TP. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and definitely look at the documentations because they're very, very good. Maxence, what is not working for you? Are you using VS Code or Android Studio or? What editor are you using? Or are you compiling from the terminal? VS Code. There is like a lightning that you can tap and it should hot reload. I can show it on the screen again. So this is hot reload. Do you see it, Maxence? Okay. so you have to launch your iOS.
extension?
Yeah, so just click it. Just change your.
And I have to open the project in the extension.
Just launch a
Okay,
simulator.
okay.
You search. Yeah, simulator.
Oh, okay.
And then launch a simulator.
Okay.
If you don't like the model, you can change it. And then after you Flutter mobile, you get to choose automatic create manager.
Ah, ok.
Afterwards, you can also just launch those from VS Code by
Okay.
clicking the play button. You can open the project with VS Code by just opening VS Code and selecting the folder wherever it is. It's like you were normally opening any other project. What do you mean by package to install? Oh, I mean you can for I think there is one for Flutter or Dart. I'm not sure right now. Maybe I did download one. Yeah, an extension. Really? Hmm.
La conférence Flutter, c'est ça?
Ouais.
C'est
Tu
ça.
viens?
Ah, en vrai, j'ai des trucs à faire, mais ça m'intéresse quand même. Ouais, je sais.
T'as un PC?
Et en bas. Ah, la vache. Ah, non, en plus, j'ai un truc à dire, par contre, c'est bon, bon, pas grave, je suis claqué. Il y aura une diffusion ou pas? Ouais, ouais.
J'ai fait un café et tu peux le faire.
Je regarde ça.
Scan.
Scan. Reste là.
We can stay here for 2 hours if you want. Sorry, Martin, I didn't see your question. I don't think it's there is such a difference between using VS Code or Android Studio if you're on Mac OS. If you're on Mac OS, it doesn't really matter. If you're not on Mac OS, well, then you need Android Studio anyway. And I'm using VS Code because I like VS Code, and I never used Android Studio, so that's about it. So we're gonna do a Kahoot. Did everyone join? I'm gonna wait a little more minute and I'm gonna start. So if you haven't joined, please join. So let's go. So the difference between the blue and yellow is that Flutter is open source. So Luke is in the lead. Yes, I think that was very easy. So obviously a stateless widget has to be static because the state will not change. Okay. So it is used, for example, to just display an image, or if you want to display a static text or something like that. Yes, so it is indeed the lib directory. Sinan in the lead. So again, stateful widget, the opposite of a stateless widget. And as I mentioned in the presentation at the beginning, it refreshes the screen and it allows you to change some variables that are, for example, displaying. So again, as mentioned in the presentation, all types in Flutter are a superclass of object. So you can define anything as object and set it to a string at the beginning and then to an integer and etc. So that's another thing that was mentioned in the presentation. We see that a lot of people paid attention. Great. So yeah, indeed, initialized variables are first set to null. If the null safety is not on, if it is on, you indeed have to initialize them. There is no initial value. So I think this is kind of self-explanatory. Wow, Sinan is leading. So indeed, it is the gesture detector. Sinan is still in the lead. Yeah, so anyone who already started the TP must know that it is the counter. Last question. Yay! Let's see the podium. So I hope you enjoyed the Kahoot and you can go back to the TP. Don't hesitate to ask any questions, of course.
When you're connecting, maybe he just had the Kahoot like full screen and he just had the answers, not the questions. Because on Kahoot, when you type the code, not really. Then maybe, but maybe he did. He just connected after the end. Ok, je trouve que c'est ça. Ah non, mais c'est toujours ça en fait. C'est ça. C'est juste, je pense que c'est de te faire fier d'elle. On s'est dit, c'est quoi ce truc? C'est juste en scène data, dans le matériel. T'as juste point blue, bah tu changes ce que tu veux. Ah, c'est là, je le prends blue. Ouais.
Ah, et ça, c'est
T'as toutes les couleurs.
Et t'as quoi comme
Oui.
tu vas faire RGB?
Je fais ce détail en commence.
De mettre
Ou je suis pas sûr que c'est sur le site. Hein, je suis pas sûr. Mais c'est stylé. C'est vrai que ça coûte pas.
So we're gonna wrap up here. I hope everyone enjoyed their time today. And please don't forget to fill out the feedback forms, whether you like this workshop, and also mainly what would you like to have next, like a next event. And yeah, I hope to see you on another workshop. Bye.